Okay, next up is going to be Nullform, book number 1, a RealRPG series written by Dem Mikhailov. Okay, it is 350 pages, $3.90, is available on Kindle Unlimited, and here's the author's description. In this world, everyone starts with no memory and no recollection of their past life. In this world, you have nothing. Even your limbs are rented, and you'll have to pay up every day. In this world, you must complete tasks assigned to you by the system where you find and stripped of everything, including your arms and legs. In this world, you're under unrelenting supervision, but in dark corners hidden from the system's watchful violence, brutality, and lawlessness abound. In this world, you're assigned a number. You're a volatile Nullform. Now it's up to you to adapt to this reality and try to survive without ending up crippled. Just don't mess up or you'll be wishing you were dead as you dig yourself deeper into an endless pit of debt. This world will not take pity on you. You'll have to work tirelessly to earn the right to live another day. So there we go. And in this world, sorry, it doesn't work for me. Full disclosure, I received advanced copy for review. I purchased a copy when it became available. But fundamentally, that's what it is. The novel description is not inaccurate. Slightly repetitive, but that's a different issue. This story from the publisher, like publishing material, promotion materials, calls this a real RPG story. And while I've seen that used in other stories before, mostly Russian literary stories that are translated and set in like a real world of some kind or some kind of real world aspect, as in like not VR, not transported to a fantasy magic world. This is a little bit different. It is set in the real world, but it's set in more of a apocalypse world in the far future, dark and dystopian. And there are no RPG aspects at all, none whatsoever. Part of the promotional material is also that this is one of the earliest series from an author who would eventually write an actual fantasy liberty story, and it predates even the creation of the word LitRPG in like the Russian literature, and it goes on to inspire famous names in Russian LitRPG. In that respect, reading the story, I can see how this is kind of a precursor to LitRPG. There are notifications rather. There are maps. There's like text that pops in front of a main character and the characters that give them like quest descriptions and like their balance scores and like the cost of items and everything. So you can see there is kind of this artificial reality kind of interface system in the story. But again, there is no actual progression system here. There's no XP, there's no levels, there's none of that. There's not even stats for them to increase or decrease. The most you could probably say is that they earn money, and they have costs associated with like their existence in this like dark dystopian apocalypse kind of world. But to call it real RPG seems like a stretch to me. So if you're looking for something that's real crunchy, that has like gamified elements or RPG systems, this isn't it. There are other things that are good about the story. But for me, because that's what I was expecting with that particular title, with that particular description, I was disappointed and didn't ultimately work for me. But there are other things that I think other readers will enjoy. I'd say this story is more closely related to post-apocalyptic or maybe cyberpunk story because it does take place in a dystopian world. The main character wakes up with new arms and legs attached to him and no memory of who he is or where he is. The story is mostly slice of life and that you're following the main character as he learns the rules of this world where every aspect of survival is provided at a cost. And if you can't pay or go too far into debt, your arms and legs you're renting are taken away from you by force by the mechanical system of this world. It's a very dark story that classifies workers into categories of usefulness, which have slang terms like zombie, goblin, orc, halfling, but they're not really related to those like fantasy races. They have no physiological connection. They're actually slang terms for abbreviations for their particular class system of like how much work they can do and how much rewards they get and how dangerous their missions are going to get. That's as far as that connecting goes, which again, you can see like the proto LitRPG elements in it, but there's no actual, RPG system here. In the story, the main character has to figure out a way to keep out of debt. And that's what the story is. It really is just that. And him experiencing this dark world, figuring out the AI-driven system that runs things and how there are hidden areas where like super dark things happen, even though the system is automated and tries to provide for humanity and kind of be self-sustaining. You can see like there are these logical exploitations that people do for the system, and that's kind of what it is. There is no RPG system here. At most, there are like little mini games people play, like tic-tac-toe or a battleship, but they're just for extra credits. So there's no RPG system here, so it's not really LitRPG or GameLit. So if you're expecting that again, this is not going to satisfy you, and that's why it doesn't kind of work for me. But there are, again, other things that people seem to enjoy, and I think that people who don't have that same expectations might actually really like this as just like this dark dystopian apocalypse story written from a Russian author. And though if you're going into the story expecting that, I think you'll actually really enjoy it. But for me, again, I was expecting something else. And so my expectations weren't fulfilled, and it just didn't kind of work for me as somebody who loves LitRPG, who loves GameLit, who loves like those stories and those numbers and those classes and all that other stuff. And so it was kind of disappointing in that respect. But if you like depressing and dark stories, I think you'll like this. It just didn't work for me, unfortunately. So it gets the score 6 out of 10. That's a Nullform, book number 1, RealRPG series with the score of 6 out of 10.